The debate over critical race theory is definitely wide-ranging.
Our Leon Bibb gives us his perspective, and he says to look forward, we must also take a look back at history.
Maybe you've participated in a friendly game of tug of war, where you and your friends are pulling on one end of a rope and a group of people on the other end of the rope are pulling in their direction, a friendly competition. Well, that's a game, but there's a real tug of war going on in this country. And competition is history. How much of it should be told?
At the center point is race, the subject which America has grappled since colonial times, before there was a United States. An old concept called critical race theory has been renewed in America's vocabulary. It deals with the question of addressing inequalities and racism in the United States. Specifically on the table is American history, with the question of how much of the horrible and painful parts should be told. Those in favor of critical race theory view the nation's past, even its ugliest parts, as part of the true historical document demanding to be told. Opposition believes what is past, and that today's people had nothing to do with yesteryear's pain. Case in point, the 1921 destruction of Greenwood, the black residential and highly successful business area in Tulsa, Oklahoma, destroyed by armed whites who hated the thriving community, referred to by blacks as Black Wall Street. The white rioters destroyed businesses and 1,200 homes as they murdered 300 people, secretly burying their bodies in unmarked graves, most of which have not yet been found. Then the story itself was killed, and the rioters tried to erase the crime from history, even forcing the fearful black survivors to remain silent until now. Acknowledging history causes us to find lessons learned which can provide guideposts for better futures. Some history is painful. Racial inequalities and racism of the past will stay with us if we do not study those times and learn lessons. Examination of the past, whether painful or good, helps us understand where to go next. But for most of the nation's history, what was in the mass media omitted black life, giving America a whites-only perspective.
Even in my school books in elementary school, we had very few images of black children and black people in the school. I learned of America, but only from one vantage point. It was as if I, and people like me, did not exist, even in the school books.
In school, the people described and pictured in my books were always white. Television in tens of millions of homes was much the same. For racial minorities, it was as if we did not exist in the American culture, although we knew that we did. A better story now. Still, there is room for improvement. Each of us views life through our own individual experiences and understandings. Needed are various and diverse viewpoints, giving us all better understandings of what others may feel.
What is written of us can be a guide to a more truthful understanding of what was. And that can provide an inspiration for all of us to be all that we can be. For 3 News, I'm Leon Bibb.